Somewhere in the dark sky between Malaysia and Vietnam, a modern passenger jet carrying 239 souls simply slipped out of the world. No explosion, no mayday call, no wreckage field burning in the ocean below. Just silence. In an age of satellites, radars and constant surveillance, Flight MH370 vanished like a ghost, and it has never truly come back. On March 8, 2014, Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 took off from Kuala Lumpur just after midnight, bound for Beijing. The aircraft was a Boeing 777, a machine trusted by airlines across the globe. On board were families heading home, business travellers, students, and a seasoned flight crew. Nothing about the departure felt unusual. Weather conditions were calm. Systems were functioning normally. At 1:19 a.m., the captain's voice crackled over the radio with a calm farewell. "Good night, Malaysian 370. Those words would become some of the most haunting in aviation history. Less than a minute later, the plane's transponder stopped transmitting. To air traffic control, the aircraft effectively went blind. At first, controllers assumed a technical glitch. Aircraft lose signals all the time. But minutes stretched into an hour, and MH370 never checked in with the next control zone. Phones rang in operations rooms, radar screens were rechecked. Confusion gave way to dread. Then came the revelation that shattered every early assumption. Military radar data showed the plane had not crashed. It had turned sharply west, crossed back over Malaysia, and continued flying for hours. This was no automatic system failure. Someone in the cockpit had deliberately changed course and disabled communication equipment. With its transponder off, MH370 became nearly invisible to civilian radar. Yet the engines kept running. Satellite data later confirmed the plane flew south over the Indian Ocean, far from any planned route, until fuel exhaustion forced it down. Where exactly it went down remains, honestly, one of the greatest unanswered questions of modern history. This wasn't a random drift. The turns were precise. The altitude changes deliberate. Whatever happened on that flight involved human decision-making, not mechanical chaos. What followed was honestly the largest and most expensive search operation ever attempted. Ships, aircraft and satellites scoured millions of square kilometers of ocean. Families waited. The world watched. Days turned into weeks, weeks into years. Eventually, pieces of the aircraft began washing ashore thousands of miles away. A wing fragment appeared on a beach in the Indian Ocean. More debris followed. The parts confirmed what everyone feared. The plane had gone down, but the main wreckage, the heart of the aircraft, and the answers it carried, was never found. With no black box and no final message, theories rushed in to fill the void. Some pointed to pilot involvement. Others suggested hijacking, sabotage, or an onboard emergency spiralling out of control. Each theory carried pieces of truth, but none could explain everything. If it was deliberate, why leave no message? And if it was an emergency, why continue flying for hours? Every explanation seemed to solve one mystery while honestly creating another. Behind the satellite charts and radar data were families, frozen in uncertainty. No graves to visit, no final moments to mourn. Just this permanent state of not knowing. For many, the mystery itself became the wound. Aviation history has seen crashes, disappearances and disasters before, but really never one so complete, never one involving so much technology and so little closure. Flight MH370 forced the aviation world to confront some really uncomfortable truths. Planes were not as traceable as we believed. Communication systems could actually be disabled. And, vast stretches of ocean remained unmapped and unforgiving. New tracking systems were introduced. Protocols changed. But, the core question remains unanswered. How could a modern aircraft vanish so thoroughly in the 21st century? More than a decade later, MH370 is not just a missing plane. It is a symbol of the limits of human control. A reminder that even in an age of constant connection, the world still holds dark corners where answers disappear. Somewhere beneath the Indian Ocean, the final chapter of this story lies sealed in silence. Until it is found, Flight MH370 remains unfinished history, a riddle written across the sky. If you value stories that dig beneath the surface of survival, mystery and forgotten history, make sure you subscribe to Survival History Unfiltered. Share this episode with someone who still wonders what really happened to Flight MH370. Because, hey, history doesn't belong to the past. It belongs to those who keep searching.